back. That was our general body exercise. We hope you joined us to exercise, This is a new week, new day. Okay, all that you have eaten over the weekend, you need to burn them off. Now we want to talk about agriculture, and we'll have someone. I'm sure by the time I introduce him, you will know what I'm talking about. Who is loaded with the information, and he is the right person to talk to us this morning about agriculture as a means for economic transformation. Please join me as I welcome Engineer Bayomi Onosoya. He is the Global Director of Africa House. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
A beautiful morning to you.
Fantastic morning.
In fact, how did you come?
Well, I drove, and the one looking at my fuel gauge to ensure I'm not wasting fuel.
Honestly, wow. It's biting hard, but we are strong people.
We'll pull through.
We'll pull through. Yes, that's just it. So let's begin to look at how you see agriculture, playing a pivotal role in driving economic transformation. How do you see it?
Well, yes. First of all, good morning, Nigeria. Good morning, Abuja. Thank you for having me. Agriculture is not just about feeding yourself. Agriculture is a major sector of the economy that everyone must take serious. In fact, Western nations that we admire today, they understood this importance long way back, and they've equated agriculture as security of a nation in terms of economy and, in fact, in the general well-being of the economy. And in Nigeria, we need to start looking at agriculture beyond just, putting 3 square meals on our table. What do I mean by this? Agriculture, of course, involves, cultivating food, rearing animals and whatnot. Agriculture is capable of driving nations out of poverty.
Okay.
Because by the time you are known as a country that produces a particular crop, a particular aspect of agriculture in the most efficient and in the most affordable way, the whole world will come to you to buy, which automatically translates to income for your people. People will start earning an income, and as a result, the economy will grow automatically. So we in Nigeria need to move to that level where we can start, first of all, feeding ourselves, and then making sure our food production is now good for export so that we can start selling to other parts of the world.
Okay, let's look at the strategies and innovations, that you feel hold most potential for boosting of
Well, before I say that, we need to understand that we have 50% of our arable land, is not being utilized. 50%. That means we've not even, explored 50% of our potential when it comes to agriculture. And that gives us like a clean slate where we can build something new, something fantastic. And in order to do that, there's one innovation that we must put in place. That is large-scale agriculture, mechanization of agriculture. Agriculture in Nigeria must be mechanized. Mechanization basically would mean that a farmer that is cultivating only 1 acre can now do 10 hectares. Businesses now, like ours and even you can decide, I want to retire from media, I want to become a full-time farmer. So that means you can now say, I'll go back to my village and I'll cultivate 1,000 hectares. So food will now come on a massive scale. And when food starts coming on a massive scale, what will happen? Food prices will drop.
Honestly.
And then our prices will become competitive. We'll start exporting, let's say, maize to America, for example. We'll start exporting soybean. Soybean, as an example, is a major commodity that most nations import for their livestock industry, for chicken, for piggery and whatnot. But in Nigeria, our cultivation is below 500,000 tons per year. And our demand is 2 million tons. So we don't even have enough for our local feed industry, so much so that now a bag of good feed is about 17 to 20,000 naira per bag. So how can you do poultry with 20,000 naira per bag? But if we're doing mass agriculture, then the feed will become maybe 2,000 naira per bag. And then other nations will start saying, okay, let's go to Nigeria, or let's be buying soybean from Nigeria. So we will earn a lot of money and we'll create jobs, in fact. And to link it to security also, you now discover that all the young folks walking around the street with no jobs, cybercrime will reduce because a young guy in his 20s can own a farm of 100 hectares, 200 hectares, is making $500,000 a year in income. He has other young people he's employing. And also the challenges we're having in the northern parts of Nigeria, northeast, and other parts of the nation. So people will be gainfully employed, so much so that we would now be bringing in foreign workers to be working in our agricultural industry. So agriculture is capable of transforming Nigeria to the next level. In fact, it is something we need to take very, very seriously.
Let's look at the role of security. Because we've said this over and over again, that if there's no security, farmers cannot go to their farm.
True.
For instance, where farmers are being kidnapped, so how will they farm?
Well, yes, unfortunately, this is where we found ourselves. And again, in order to solve this security challenge of people not being able to go to farm, it has to be a collective effort, both from the government side and the local communities. And I think I've said this on this show before, that in order to make the farm safe enough for people, first of all, we need to have a meeting between the local communities, the security agencies, and the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security to say, okay, you know what are the agricultural potentials of your zone? A few weeks back, I think last week or 2 weeks ago, I went to Kogi State. I drove, and against many people's advice, I said, no, I want to see with my own eyes. So I drove, and I saw thousands and thousands of hectares of uncultivated lands. And along the highway, you have jungles, thick forests, and thick places where criminals can hide. So, which is a security threat, even to people using the highways and the villagers themselves. So, when all of us come together and we see that, we say, fine, in this zone, how many hectares of land do you think we can get for agriculture? Maybe they'll say 100,000 hectares. And then we'll say, okay, fine, 100,000 hectares. How many villages do we have within this 100,000 hectares? Then we now call the village chiefs, the residents, and say, well, listen, please let us form a security structure that allows us to identify the simplest sign of threats. Any stranger we see walking about in our society, we report to the vigilante, to the police, to the army, and whatever. So we quickly nip them in the bud before they become a threat. And then the Ministry of Agriculture will now say, okay, fine, now let us start cultivating this 100,000 hectares of land, and then we'll give you the tractors, we'll give you the support, the seedlings, the fertilizers, and then we'll cultivate that land. And I jokingly say that if we plant cassava everywhere or we plant maize everywhere, where will the criminals hide? They cannot. So because the lands are lying fallow, that's why it's becoming a security threat. If we cultivate all the highways, the roads on the highways and all these jungles becomes a farm and whatnot, see, there will be no hideouts for criminals. So these are some of the strategies that we can do to eliminate security challenges completely from our land, and it's doable in a very, very short period of time.
I want us to look at storage.
All right.
Let's take tomatoes for.
Wow. Now
it's in season. It's everywhere.
Now you're talking.
It's out of season.
Now you're pressing my buttons, because it's an area that we work actively on. This is, in fact, even yesterday we were still working on this, by the way. What do I mean by this? This is a fantastic question, and thank you for that question. I appreciate you. Okay, the problem of post-harvest storage is a big problem in Nigeria. In fact, it's estimated that we're losing about 1 to 2 trillion every year, because when tomato is in season, it becomes so cheap that it begins to rot away. And fast forward 3 months after, tomato becomes, big man's food. Good, exactly. So what we need to do in terms of storage is we need to invest heavily in processing of our foods. For example, I'll use my organization as an example. As Africa House, what we've done is, because we've seen this and we say, what can we do? So what we're currently doing, what we've been doing is, we're now converting tomato into tomato powder. So as they are coming from Benue, as they are coming from Jos, so what we're now doing is, in our facility in Abuja, we're now converting tomatoes from all over the country into non-perishable forms. So tomato powder you can keep for 2-3 years without preservation, without fridge, just seal it properly, keep it, and it will stay. And then when tomato season is off, is gone, you just open the tomato pack, put it in water, reconstitute, it becomes tomato. You see? So, and these are some of the things we can do. And the same thing you can do for so many things. So for fruit, tomato, even this ugu. I always love to use ugu as an example. Do you know that for some reason this season, maybe you've noticed it, when you go to the market, you cannot find ewedu anymore.
Oh, yes.
It is expensive. Yes. And when ewedu, season came, because we were involved in the process of ewedu too, We were buying like a huge bunch. We were buying for 740 naira, 740 naira, the whole bunch. Today, if you go to Zuba, a day market, that bunch is now around maybe 6,000 to 7,000 naira.
Wow. I think we need to come back. We need to continue after this break.
Right.
We've been talking about agriculture as a means of economic transformation, and you've heard it from him. When we come back, okay, we'll also look at how small scale farmers can leverage technology. Please don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Wow, we've been talking agriculture, and you know, when we talk agriculture, everybody's antenna is standing because it's food. We need food. So, Ejitabayemi, you were talking about
and
all that.
Yes, so like I said, now if you want to buy a weed in the market, in the retail market, you say give me a weed 200 naira, they'll give you 2-3 sticks and say, what is happening now?
Hold it there. They said before
the whole bunch was 749. I was in the market, I bought it for 740.
Now
in day market.
Now it's how much?
Now they'll sell you 6,000-7,000. That's if you can find it. If you can find it. You see, so now we cannot even eat veggies anymore. So imagine when ewedu and ugu and all these vegetables came on board.
Yes, we had
and we processed. So what we did was we processed ewedu into ugu into dried ugu leaves. Okay. And we're exporting it, by the way. And there's a huge market for ugu exports, especially among the diaspora. Because in England, you cannot find ugu. They can find spinach, but they cannot find ugu.
So when it's dried, when you want to use it, what happens?
You just put it in the water and put your stew, put your meat and your... I'm telling you, and it's the same thing. And for the ewedu, what do? We convert it to ewedu powder. Ooh. And the ewedu powder is so a lot of them. I'm getting hungry now.
I'm tempted to the words of Zovlaria.
Yeah.
Zovlaria is if it's not, I don't want to say it's not. So if it's not the fresh ewedu, do you think the powdered one can still be like, give us?
Thank God for technology.
No.
See, that used to be the school of thought. Like, no, it's not fresh. Trust me, it's not. Because the technology of today, and I'll give you the secret live on air. So if you're listening, you're lucky you're watching NTA5. See, when you're processing ewedu and all these vegetables, this thing I'm giving you for free. Anyways, Nigerians know I love you, right? So what we do is you dry it slowly. You dry at maximum 40 degrees Celsius, slow drying. When you dry at low temperatures, you keep the nutrients. But the mistake people make is they dump it into the same dryer they use for other fruits. And then the temperature rises above 40, 50, 60, and then you start losing some of the nutrients. So if you slow dry it, you keep 90% of the nutrients in the ewedu. And in fact, when it's ewedu powder, when you put water in it and put it on fire, it draws very, very well. You don't even need other component that you put. So this is something that you should try as well. So if we can do this for ewedu and so many other things,
I'll try it.
You should, you know. And so we can do this for so many other food commodities, you know, even onion. You know, onion, you know, funny enough, 2 years ago, I think I said it also on this show, I went to Southern Kaduna again by road. You know me, I like to drive. And I bought a whole... Amen. I bought a huge bag of onion for 14,000 naira. I will never forget, 14,000 naira. Today, that bag of onion is 75,000 naira. And even the bigger bags, they're more expensive. So, and if we have a technology that we can use to preserve those onions, in fact, there's several technologies. For example, what we do is we just convert it into onion powder. With onion powder, you don't have to worry about off-season or refrigeration, NEPA or whatever. It will stay and the aroma is fantastic. And it eliminates the need for seasoning because when you dry it into powder, the seasoning comes out automatically. The aroma within the kitchen is fantastic. So
it's the same method of cutting and drying?
Cut it, dry it, get the right equipment, of course, following up that standard so that you don't, you know, include the and you must wash it very, 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 very well. I cannot emphasize this enough. Wash it very well so you don't have impurities from the market and whatnot. So we can do this for a whole variety of things, even mango. Mango can be turned into concentrates that you can keep for a year. I have a sample in my office that we did 2 years ago and it's still there, still usable without any preservatives or chemicals that will kill people. So we need to invest heavily into processing, and not only processing for off-season, but to export. Our neighboring countries are waiting on us to sell onions to them. Do you know we export onions to all the way to Burkina Faso? Fresh onions. And when onion is expensive in Nigeria, Ghanaians, they groan. Burkina babes, they complain because they depend on us for their onions. But if we encourage cultivation, processing, packaging, storage, all these youths will have jobs. So this is something we need to work with the government to enhance our capacities.
How can small scale businesses or agricultural, those in agricultural business, how
Yes.
can they leverage technology to be able to get to be able to, what will I call it, to have the desired transformation?
Transformation.
Yeah.
Well, fantastic. I mean, for a small business, first of all, I would say is training. Understand what solutions are out there first.
Okay.
Let's say you are a Ugu trader, the woman who has a small Ugu farm in, let's say, Kubwa or in Maitama. What she can do is, of course, if you're not educated, get your sons and daughters who are educated. Go on YouTube, go on all those platforms, go find information about how people are doing it outside the country, how other people are doing it. Then you have an idea of, okay, fine, based on what I've seen, I think I can afford a budget of so and so and so and so amount of naira. And then you get those small equipments. Start on a small scale. I always tell people, like this food drying thing that I'm telling you, if you want to start on a big scale like ours, you need millions and millions. But on a small scale, you get a small dehydrator. 20, 15,000 naira, you get a small dehydrator in your kitchen. Start from there. And then once you see that this thing is viable and your people are buying from you, people are demanding for it, then you now say, okay, fine. Now it's time to approach the microfinance banks or look for partners. And this is where I want to challenge Nigerians. Let's do away with this mentality of only me. Myself, and I. I don't trust my brother. I don't trust my sister. We live in the modern age, guys. I understand it's human nature to try to cheat each other, but the truth is, thank God for modernity. There are contracts that you can sign. Go to court, have real partnerships, and you have people who manage the business so nobody can cheat the other person. That way, we can progress faster than one guy carrying all the load on his head trying to move one industry forward.
Okay. As we round up the show, from your own point of view, what do you think are some of the challenges that businesses face, to boost their, what will I call it, agricultural products, and then your word of advice? So you're marrying two things together briefly.
Yes, I mean, with the challenges they are facing, number one is lack of information. You see, and unfortunately, we have so many training institutes, government agencies who are charged with this responsibility. They need to do more to let the publicity. They need to come to NTA, go to different platforms, and let people know, guys, this training is available. Go there for free. Go there and pay stipends, and then get this training knowledge. And number two is finance. The banks need to be friendly to the farmers. If you like, calculate all the money you like in the world, the farmer will still go to the farm and buy. I mean, the banker will still go to the farm and buy food, will buy ugu, will buy vegetable, right? So if you are helping the farmer, you're doing yourself a favor. You see what I'm trying to say? So please be friendly to the farmers. Give them access to finance. And to round up, the solution to this country's agricultural problems, or shall I say to foster growth, lies in our hands. We all need to see it as a responsibility of everyone, not just government, or I don't want to be a farmer, I want to have office job pressing computer all day long. No, it's our collective responsibility. You can be a farmer, you can be a banker at the same time. Start small, think big, and grow fast, and Nigeria will be better off.
Thank you so much. Start small, think big, and Nigeria will be better for us. I'm saying that to you. And remember, we've always said it on this show. Make agriculture attractive to our youths so that they can channel their energy, so that we can have them go into agriculture. All right, thank you so much, Engineer Bayomi. We've been talking about agriculture as a means for economic transformation. The program will continue after this break. Please don't go anywhere. If you're just joining us, this is still Good Morning Abuja on NT Channel 5, the Unity Station. Thank you so much for staying tuned. We have a guest in the house, and this time we want to look at the importance of continuous growth and development in personal and professional life. Please join me as I welcome Mr. Eric John. He is an administrator.
Thank you. Good morning. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Yes, let's look at the definition of continuous growth and development.
Yeah.
For a layman, how would you define it today?
Okay, so I would say growth. It's improvement.
Okay.
Is improvement. So one who wants to grow is one who is determined to make improvement on himself, right? So it's being better than where you are.
Okay.
So I would use a scenario, and I would also say that growth is making effort. all right, making effort, and to also say making struggles. I'll use a scenario of just for clarity, the effort, scenario of a seed. When you put a seed to the ground, so you notice when it dies in the ground, and then it's about when it gets life back and is about to come forth, you see the ground begins to crack open. All right, so that's make the seed making effort to what spring up, to pull out. So that can be seen as growth. That is making effort, the ability to see that you are better than where you are. All right, yeah.
So it's also applies to your personal life,
Applies to your personal life
and your
profession. Yeah,
life.
yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So let's look at learning skills. Okay.
Yeah.
Skills, learning skills or knowledge play. What does the role learning a skill and knowledge? What role does it play in your
my God.
personal and professional?
Oh my God, it makes it so much, so much. You can't overemphasize the importance of getting a skill. You can't overemphasize the importance of it. So I usually tell, I am an administrator, I'm a trained administrator.
Okay.
So, but I usually tell most persons, young men, my kind, that I get opportunity to talk to, I do tell them, and I said, say, beyond what you studied in school, there's need for you to always, there are professional courses out there you can get, and that gives you a leg up over your class, over your peers. All right. So it's very important to get a skill. It's very important to get equipped the more, to wanting to know more. All right. So you can't, for how long do you want to remain at the level where you are?
Level where you are.
For how long? I mean,
it reminds me of what NTA encourages us to do. NTA tells you to have like 4 legs, 5 legs, indirectly saying to you, don't just stay at what you are doing. Learn 1, 2, 3, so you have 5
there are
legs.
options.
So you're able to stand.
There are options. And the society where we are in now is a society where you are employed for a particular task, and then you end up doing some other task. And that gives you an advantage.
Yeah.
Gives you an advantage.
Yeah. Okay, let's look at the strategies.
Okay.
Strategies one can or employ for personal growth and professional growth. So what are some of these strategies that you feel?
There are so many, but I will mention a few, and using myself as an example, because I remember some time ago, after school, I knew that I got equipped, to an extent, but I knew that there's so much, because if you must stand out, then you have to keep the standard. Yes, it's you have to meet up with standard. And then for me personally, what I did was I set a task, and I asked myself that in order to meet this task, I have to do so. I would recommend that, like I said earlier on, there are courses you can take. For me as an administrator, even as a marketer, as an accountant, the ICANN is there, and so many other things you can also do. So I would say that going online, it's searching for courses you can attend. There are free courses you can attend that can help you. That's a strategy. All right. Another thing again you can do is reading of books.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there are books. There are so much information. It is said by a wise mind that books you read is having contact with the person you cannot see. So there's someone in the USA, but because of phones, I can't go to see the person in the USA. I can just get his books, and I'm reading his mind in my bedroom.
Okay.
And so that's another way you get empowered. That's a strategy as well you can adopt. Reading books. There are contents online also that are inspiring, contents online that are also equipping, that you can also listen to and also get equipped.
Oh, wow.
All right, yeah.
Okay, so as an administrator, I know that from your experience, you'll be able to know 1 or 2 challenges that people face when they're trying to, build the personal and then professional, to have the growth to get to that point where you want in your life or your career. So what are some of the challenges that you feel that one may encounter?
Finance can be a challenge.
Okay.
And then accessibility can also be a challenge. There's this
environment.
The environment can also be a challenge too.
The family background.
it can be a challenge too. But you also would. It all depends on you. Like I said, growth. It's making effort. If you're tired of that place where you are, that status quo where you are, then make the push. Don't relent.
A lot of people say the fear of the unknown. If I leave this place where that's why some people just remain in one comfort zone. Meanwhile, it's not comfort.
It's not comfort.
Comfortable.
No.
They just remain there.
Yeah.
So because of this fear of the unknown, what about if I leave this place and I want to go to another place? What will happen?
So my question to such persons is, how do you know if you don't make that move?
Okay.
How do you know?
How do you know? Yeah.
You fear the unknown. So if you don't make that push, take that risk. If you don't take the calculated risk to go and then know, how you stay at the place of, you keep being scared of the unknown, and that will not help you at the end of the day. You notice that you become backward, while your peers are moving forward.
Okay. We are going for a break right now. When we come back, we'll continue the conversation. We'll be talking about continuous growth in your personal life, not personal lives and profession. Okay, now we're going for this break. Please don't go anywhere. When we come back, the administrator is still here. He's still going to throw more light. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back. We've been talking about continuous growth in our personal lives and our professions. Okay, now we still have the administrator in the house, and I tell you, if you don't make a move, if you're comfortable in that your comfort zone, you'll be left behind. He talked about skill. We need to learn a skill. We need to move from where we are if we want to get to the top. So let's continue. Let's look at tangible benefits.
Yeah.
Tangible benefit when we train ourselves for growth and we move, whether in our personal lives or in our professions. What are the tangible benefits?
So, in a profession, it gives you an edge. I mentioned that earlier on. So, take for instance, a core member, right? A young man who just finished the National Youth Service Corps, and that other person who didn't do the National Youth Service Corps. So when both persons all had the BSc.
Or one person.
But one person, so sometimes people will say the sentiment is a good sentiment.
Yes.
Because who would not want to give his organization to someone who is capable? I know I'm not saying that serving I think having the National Youth Service Corps, it makes you better than the other person, no.
But it's an
advantage. Yes, it's an advantage.
It's an advantage.
Yeah, so why I said that was because I said some people, there are some persons who didn't even go to the four walls of the university, but they've chosen to explore, other means of education. So, but that's not to encourage one not going to school anyways. I'm just bringing that as a by the way, So, but the advantage there is that it gives you an edge over your peers.
Okay.
There are platforms there are places, there are doors you will knock on, and then it will open for you. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So when you have that personal growth in your life or in your profession, it takes you places better than someone who doesn't have. That's what you're saying. Okay, now for Nigeria, I know a lot of things, we have our young ones, they are active, a lot of things, they want to do a lot of, they are creative. Do you think this growth compared to years back, do you think there is this zeal to, to get to that, have that person?
Fair enough, because I am in this generation as well. And I happen to meet a couple of young persons too, like me, and we have conversations. And talking about skill, we have a couple of people who actually acquire skills. But you see, these skills they acquire are not, they are not in terms of profession.
Okay.
Say, okay, barbing is a skill.
Music. Is it a skill?
Music is a skill. Music is a skill. All right, it's a talent actually.
It's a talent. Dancing is a talent. Okay.
So but when you come to the professional cycle, the professional world, so you have to undergo study. You have to undergo study, have mentors who guides you. So it's very important. It's very important to just to have this understanding that growth is not um, a thing to undermine. It's not one thing you should just wave aside. No,
Okay.
you need to give it key attention. And of course, there are other objective. Also, is one thing that drives one to growth. What is your objective? What inspires you? Why do you want to grow? Why do you want to improve? Okay, so I want to go to Canada tomorrow, or I want to be the president of Nigeria tomorrow. There should be a drive. There should be something that inspires me, and that inspires me to wanting to read. It inspires me to wanting to know about the nation. It inspires me to want to be better. My conduct, my life, everything from my home out. Yeah.
I want to, now, okay, fine. Personal growth is personal
Yeah.
on your own, but when we come to professional growth,
Yeah.
what role do you think that organizations and governments
Yeah.
should play?
Trainings.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's a role that an organization should play in making a staff, right, a professional or an advantage to them is training. And I see organizations do that.
Okay.
I see organizations do that. I remember some years ago where I was working then as an admin officer, and we, from the admin desk, we put up trainings together, both internally and externally.
External, okay.
All right, just so we can have good results coming from the staffs.
Okay.
Yes, there are some certain things some staffs will not know until some persons out there come
Comes to
and then
train them.
train them on that.
All right.
Yeah.
Now, in just what I call it, a sentence, what advice will you give to someone who is not no growth, no personal growth, no professional growth? Somebody who is just watching. What would you say to that person as we round up?
Please, I beg you.
I beg you.
All
I
right.
like that. I beg
I beg you. Make it a point of great to see that you grow. Like I said earlier on, it's nothing to joke about. You will become a mediocre, all right, if you don't grow. If you don't imbibe the culture of wanting to grow. Small, you just see yourself in a cycle. And you can't stagnant. You'll be in that cycle. You can't break out if you don't grow. How much a man knows determines how he acts. It influences how the man acts. All right. So it's very important that you make it a decision, a conscious, and it has to be. You have to be conscious. You have to decide.
Conscious effort.
Yes, you have to decide. It won't be easy, and of course, nothing comes easy. Yeah, you say this was thrown at me. It costs someone to even get it thrown at you. Yeah. So please make the effort and make it a decision that you must grow. You must be better than where you are.
Wow.
That's my counsel for everyone out there.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Make that effort. It is a conscious effort to grow. Don't just remain where you are.
Yeah.
And like I said, if you remain where you are, you'll be left behind. He made an appeal. He said, I beg. He is appealing because he knows the advantages, the benefits of you growing both personally and professionally. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
The program is still Good Morning Abuja. Please don't go anywhere. We still have lots for you. We'll be right back after this break.